All right. Good afternoon, everyone. The time is now 4 o'clock, so I will call to order our Wednesday, May 20th, 2026 meeting of the Capital Area Transportation Authority Board of Directors and ask our secretary to please call the roll. Present. All right, very good. Just a couple of logistical notes for folks. First and foremost, welcome to 511 South Washington, CATA Board's new home. Hope everyone had a chance to walk around the building in advance of our meeting today to see it in its current form, which in my estimation is already fairly impressive, but lots more to come. So kudos to the staff on all the work that they've done getting this ready for tonight's meeting, and that is yet to happen, getting this building fully operational. I will just remind board members, because we do have a virtual meeting option, that if you need to address the board or have comments to make, you do have microphones in front of you. And while the acoustics are pretty good in here for us to hear one another, if you don't use the mic, it will make it more difficult for people at home to be able to hear us. So I would ask you to make sure to use the microphone. That brings us to our first public comment opportunity. This is the time we set aside during each of our meetings to take comments on items that are on this evening's agenda. We ask anyone who wishes to make general public comments related to the authority or its business to wait for our second public comment opportunity. We ask that you please consider filling out a blue card to assist our secretary with keeping minutes for tonight's meeting, and that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. We will have a timer to assist you in that effort. I would normally say that I would call the cards in the order in which I have had them given to me, but I do not have any cards that were submitted in advance in this evening. So let me just ask, is there anyone who wishes to offer public comment at this first opportunity? Again, with the note that you need to be commenting on a noticed agenda item at this first opportunity. All right. Seeing none, I do have So you can fill out a blue card, and unless you're commenting on one of the limited items on this evening's agenda, then we'll have general public comment here in just a few minutes. So you have time. All right, then we'll have that in just a few moments. All right, and welcome. I'm glad you're able to find us. One other note for the board related to public comment before we move forward with the agenda. You do have at the back of your packet a public comment that was provided at the request of Jennifer Torres Favreau, who requested an accommodation to have her comment read this evening. On advice of counsel, the board is offering a partial accommodation in this case because we have to move expeditiously through this afternoon's agenda, but we have both reproduced the comment in writing for all of the board members, and it will be included in the record of this afternoon's meeting. It's the last item in your written packet this afternoon. With that, we'll move forward to chair's comments, in which case I would just say, once again, welcome to the meeting. Unfortunately, 4 of our colleagues had conflicts this evening and they were not able to make it to see this amazing new meeting space. So Jack, Ed, Derek, and Eric have all requested excused absences from tonight's meeting. Is there a motion to excuse those absences? Moved by Chelsea. Is there a second? Seconded by Steve or Kelly. You can do a coin toss. Let's call it Kelly. So moved by Chelsea, seconded by Kelly. All those in favor of excusing the absences, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries, which brings us then to our Chief Executive Officer's report. Brad, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, board members, members of the public. Welcome to the old Greyhound station. So a lot of effort has gone into this. I really need to give staff a big high five on this. Andrew, Norm, Brandy, Dan, others that participated in this. There was a lot of heavy lifting to get this up and running. A lot of the capital cost so far has been in the acquisition of the property, the adjacent property, and working on the design for the future. So there's not been a lot of construction that has gone into this. It was the condition that we got it in. So we're very proud of this. This building was very historical to Lansing. It was built in 1950 as part of a nationwide effort to put Greyhound buildings in. It's got a very long history. One of the objectives of this board was to not only provide lots of access downtown across from our CTC, but also go into a building that we would be able to essentially give the history back to the people of Lansing. So we're quite proud of that, and you'll see around the room some of the pictures and the blueprints from that era. I believe there's a book to the right of Mr. Chairman, which I will make available to you, talking about the architect Aerosmith from Cleveland, and the design in the 50s. We keep talking about Art Deco, but it's actually a streamline is the name of the architecture, which you can still see in this building. So more to come on that, and we will bring out little nuggets about this building. We see in some of the pictures off to the side, because this building served as a transportation hub, which we hope to call this building in the future, again, that there was a CATA bus stop out front, which is going to be right across from the Ovation. And of course, with the CTC here, I believe that Greyhound left here in 2000 and then went out to MSU, and we partnered with them eventually on the multimodal station. So it all stays in the family eventually. So we're very proud of that. So thank you, staff. We're pleased to have done what we have done with those resources that we have, and we hope to get more in the future. So welcome home. Next up is the report on the COA. COA, the Comprehensive Operational Analysis, which is a once-in-a-lifetime study to kind of redesign the system and looking forward to what the system can be and what we want it to be, is in phase 2. We've had 2 public meetings, the second over at the Foster Community Center last week. There have been meetings at MSU and the CTC. There have been requests for other group meetings, which Dustin and other planning folks have been meeting with groups by request. The survey is online. The survey is out. In fact, there are rumors from Dustin that we may be extending the survey and coming up with some other communication techniques because of the popularity and the input that we're getting. We're getting a lot of input, several hundred comments that have come in. As a reminder, we will be doing a greater presentation on this COA next month with the consultant to talk about some of the options moving forward. That will be in line with the board's direction on the trajectory of the budget presentation. We will have a draft budget put together by the end of June by policy. And so these will you'll get a precursor on what's going on with the COA next month, and it will give you an idea of where the budget's going. We've gone through 3 iterations based on the direction the board gave us over the last several months on the budget. To no surprise that after the second iteration, as we got close to hitting the mark for the direction you gave us of a $65 million budget, the price of diesel went through the roof, and we have gone back for a third time. So we will give you lots of flexibility in that discussion, and but we will bring back to you a $65 million budget by design. Finally, good news on the forefront. We've gone through a number of changes, including our website design. If you haven't, our website is brand new, and as part of that design, one of our staff members, Hannah, is here. Hannah is not only in our marketing department working for Brandy, but one of the specialties that she has is she is somebody from the disability network environment. Her background is in accessibility, first and foremost. And so what a great addition to our marketing department. And I tell you that because within the last couple of weeks, the website was submitted and received an award in New York, of all places, for its design and accessibility. Let me get this correctly. Sorry, Hannah. Hannah, why don't you stand up and tell them the award that you got? So I'll tell you why I think this is even more important, not just receiving the award and motivating staff, is that it's also how accessible is this? And we have audits that are done on our accessibility. In fact, we have federal regulations. You've all heard about Title VI. Well, there is a title called Title II, and they have put on municipalities a requirement to have accessible websites. And that deadline has been extended for a year. We were trying to meet the original deadline of last month, which we did. That audit was done, and we have met 100% accessibility in the website a year early. So congratulations, and thank you for your efforts on that. That's my report, sir.
You're more than welcome to applaud for that. Thank you, Brad, for your report. Questions or comments for Brad on his report? Let's start with Steve. Steve, and please remember to use the microphone.
I would like to understand just confirm my understanding of the steps in the timeline. The outcome of the COA is going to feed our FY27 budget. Is that understanding correct?
So the COA is a year-long process.
Right.
And obviously, we're not going to be able to wait until the conclusion of the COA and the printing of the report. So this was timed so that we could begin. There's some low-hanging fruit that we're going to be presenting to you next month, some early indications of where some of the strong money-saving ideas are going to come from in draft form, which will be part of the 27 budget cost savings. The real work is going to really come next year if no additional revenue comes in, and there will be heavy cutting in service. And so the COA will guide that next year.
Okay, so we're going to use, even though it's not going to be to conclusion for the 27 budget, we're going to use what we've learned so far.
It will definitely be consistent, of course.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Other questions or comments for Brad on his report? Seeing none, then that brings us to our proposed consent agenda, which includes 4 items for the board's consideration this evening. Those are the approval of the minutes of the April 2026 board meeting, the approval of the treasurer's report for March 2026, a purchase of up to 4 ADA accessible full-size vans, and finally, the renewal of appointments to the local advisory council. Does any member of the board desire to have any of these items removed from the consent agenda to the discussion agenda? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented? Moved by Shanna, seconded by Steve. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, say nay. That motion carries. The consent agenda is approved. That would bring us to our discussion agenda, which has no noticed items this evening. Likewise with old business and new business. So let me then bring us to our second and final public comment opportunity. This is the time we set aside to welcome members of the public to offer comment on any CATA-related subject. Again, we ask that you please consider filling out a blue card to assist our secretary, and that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. We'll have a timer to assist you with that. I'll call folks in the order in which I've received blue cards in advance, and then ask if there's anyone else in the room who wishes to offer public comment. And since this is our first time here, Dan can correct me if I'm wrong, but for folks who are willing and able, we'd like to have you speak from the podium. And if that will not work for you for whatever reason, we have corded mics at the table that can be brought to you by staff. So just please indicate your preference. So our first speaker this evening will be Amy Campo. Amy? Right up there to the microphone, please, ma'am.
just incredibly reliable. When we first moved here, I thought, oh, great, they'll come right to my house. Well, unless they drive past it, and my son is maybe out in the street waiting to get their attention, or they flat out tell us, oh, he doesn't know, sir, there's nobody there. I called them and said, I have a ring endorsement that we did not close the driver. Didn't come back. And he's been penalized at work for being late because it takes them so long. You have to schedule, he's supposed to work at 4, they pick him up at, I think, 3:05. And they can't make it to MSU, which should take about 15. I realize other people are timing, but, come on, how does it take so long? And he just drives usually with a van that only have, 2 to 6 people. They always had an excuse. I would try to call and say, hey, what's going on? He's going to work. I would call him like, oh, he's going to work. Please, he has to get there within a reasonable time. And it's falling back ears. I find I've given, but now I work with a lot of study coach and group people, and they are waiting over 40 minutes to be picked up. You're picking up people, but even at the bowling, the big group at the bowling, they'll either be consistently late or they're there so early that they're taking up the whole parking lot. So I don't know if I was starting to think, there's just new drivers all the time, and nobody understands what's going on. Because these people, they need special help. And like I said, you can't lose his job, so I've just given up. I take time off work to go drive him to work because I can help. Because I'm anything. So it just seems like, for a special needs section, needs to figure out what they're doing. It just doesn't, it's not working. And I think a lot of people figure it out.
Thank you for your comments. Our next public commenter will be Katie Core. Katie? Thank you very much for your comments. Our next card is from Oliver Core. Give us 1 second, Oliver. Dan, can you check the mic, please? There we go.
My name is Oliver. On behalf of the disability community, I share concerns to everyone about SpecTrans. They've been running late and leaving people stranded far too often. It's been causing me and other autistic people all kinds of distress. I believe that some of their drivers don't understand autism very well, and they should probably go through some training. As an autistic person myself, I hereby say, may we have ourselves better transportation and better services. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next commenter will be Daniel Black. And Andrew or Dan, could we get some assistance with the corded mic, please? Mr. Black, Mr. Black. Mr. Black. Mr. Black. Yeah. Your microphone was on, you turned it off. Can you let Andrew turn it back on? go.
It's part of my message. Both of my concerns involve clear and concise communications, both parties being heard. Without it, communication fails. If the vendor or purchaser isn't heard, the transaction fails. I'm referring to the CTC vending booth. The microphones are broken. Second, if the advertising message isn't heard, the intended audiences are not alerted to the desired changes. I'm referring to the Road Ahead program. What can CATA do to improve communication here? On my way here, I took a little poll. The driver on bus 713 just heard about the road ahead just last week. The driver on 739 just heard about it yesterday. The driver on Route 22 just heard about the program 3 days 3 days ago. And I'm just learning about the program myself in the last 3 days. The reason you didn't hear me earlier was part of my message that when communication isn't heard, things fail. Thank you. Oh, I'd like to make I'm just new to I haven't heard the beep, so I'll continue. I'm just new to the building, so I'd like to make a reasonable accommodation request that the front door possibly have an automatic handicap door opener. Second, I'm hearing from others previous to me that maybe there's a need for disability sensitivity training of both the operators when you call in and the drivers and possibly the entire CATA population that serves everybody. Disability sensitivity training. It seems to be sorely lacking. And remember, eat your microphone.
Thank you for your comments. those are all the cards I've had submitted in advance. So let me just ask the room, is there anyone else who wishes to offer public comment at this second and final opportunity? Before I go to you, Mark, let me just ask the general public. Seeing none, then Mark, go ahead.
Is that on?
You are on.
Okay, I would just say that the acoustics in this place are the only thing that is strongly reminiscent of the bus station from 50 years ago. Everything else, the walls are new, the floor looks pretty familiar. But the acoustics have that wonderful bus station echo, which continues for 2 or 3 seconds after any word is spoken. And I'm sure they're going to be dampening the echoing because although it's easy to hear things, it's not easy to figure out exactly what word is stated, some case. Anyway, it's very nostalgic.
Thank you, Mark. All right, seeing no other comments, let me just, before we adjourn the meeting, note for the board members and members of the public who are present or who are watching online at home. Again, this is our first time meeting in this venue. So if you have feedback about the venue, the audio, getting here, although we can't do much about the City of Lansing's construction until that's completed, anything like that, please make sure that you get it to me, that you get it to Brad, so that we can incorporate that into the work as this building continues to be made fully operational. So we would love to hear your feedback. With there being no other business to come before the CATA Board of Directors, our Wednesday, March 20th meeting is adjourned at 4:28 p.m. Thank you all for being here.